There is a lot going on at the moment, and I think we're going to be getting close soon to a point where we can start actually getting rather excited about the future of Star Citizen. Welcome to the channel, and this is From the Verse. I'm Drake, and in these ones I talk about what's new and what's coming with Star Citizen. Now, it's been a little bit since we have done a From the Verse episode due to IRL stuff, but I am back and raring to go, so let's get started, shall we? First up, we recently had CitizenCon, which was filled with a ton of new and upcoming stuff for the game. I'm sure you've all seen that by now, but what's in the nearer future for Star Citizen? Well, let's start with 3.18. It's been talked about now for months at this point, and it was looking to be released around about now, but that is clearly not happening. I know, it's a huge shock to me too. Well, this is what CIG posted recently. In last week's This Week in Star Citizen's post, we mentioned that our next major update, Alpha 3.18, has begun testing with our Eva Carty group, with our next test aiming to go out later this week. As we mentioned, after evaluating data from our recent Eva Carty test, we're targeting early December for a live release. This update will not impact IAE, which will now release in Alpha 3.17.4 patch. This has been reflected on release view with this publish. Additionally, as the Drake Corsair is due to release during IAE, we're moving its card on the release view from 3.18's column to 3.17. So yeah, now it's looking at December for 3.18, which is what I said a while back, that before Christmas would be good, but that may even be a stretch as well. However, we all need to be on the side of CIG a little bit here. Yes, everyone is used to delays, bugs and bullshit, but this 3.18 is going to be a pretty major patch, and I think they just need to take their time and make sure it gets to us in the most stable form it can at this point. I don't care when it comes out, I just want it to work. So let me know if you agree or disagree with that in the comments, or even better, just join the Discord and slag me off in a better way. Moving on to ISC. Well, this one was all about underground bunkers and facilities. If you watch CitizenCon, then you know these are getting a rather large rework. There's actually a hell of a lot of work involved here, and there's a snippet of what they said here.
In this next phase, which is white boxing, we want to block the rooms out, we want to add content, we want to get the gameplay in there, we want to split things into overlays, test it with our ProcGen tool, and get all that done.
All right. Spreadsheets are boring if you're anything like me. So let's skip ahead a little bit.
Okay, so it's all great having all of this, and it gives us a really good plan to begin with going forwards. But as you probably know, game development isn't really a concrete process. You can have all the numbers in the world, but you'll still have things that kind of crop up out of nowhere. That is what game development really is. So from this point now, we can get back into the editor, we can start fleshing out these rooms, we can start doing these overlays, we can start finding the variety and really bringing these new underground facilities to life.
So underground bunkers are going to be pretty vast and different to the usual bunkers we have now. I'm hoping this also expands the mission variety that we can do in said bunkers moving forward in the game, but we shall see what happens. We then went on and had a look at the new renderer update. So the new Gen 12 renderer will apparently help with frame rates, as well as relieving some CPU bottlenecking for hopefully all of us. Here's what they said about that.
Okay, so let's take a look at the scene here in Orson, which is well known to be one of the most expensive cities in game right now. Before we start, please do me one favor and don't look at the FPS, because this is a highly unoptimized build with highly unoptimized code and very expensive debug tracking. So any discussion about FPS here is completely meaningless. Alright, so on the right side, we have this D3D API call info window, which tells us precisely how many draw calls and how many API calls we do every frame. This is the work the engine has to do to send commands to the graphics driver, which determines how fast the CPU can feed the GPU with commands to render our frame. This is pure legacy mode. We have 47,000 API calls, and let's switch it to Gen 12. So this is Gen 12 mode. The API calls drop to about 33,000, which is quite significant for literally rendering the same scene. Okay, let's take a closer look behind the scenes. Well, let's take a look at this optic capture from that scene on Orson.
So I have no idea what they're going on about, but I'm sure it can only be good, right? We also had a Star Citizen live last week that touched heavily on new mission setups and narrative-driven missions, more so than the ones that we have currently. And the guys are working hard at this, especially as they're making the UI work for both the current and future mobiGlas. Yes, the new mobiGlas must be well underway by now, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. But I digress. Let's get back to what the dev said about the new mission structure.
So when we're building stuff, and because of the scale of this game, we try to build things very modularly, and because we build very modularly, it means there can't be a lot of story injected into it, because injecting story into stuff is very difficult. So this is our way at looking not only at trying to build something modular, but also trying to inject heavy amounts of story in it to really bring the PU to life.
Okay. So right off the bat, I'm going to ask, why investigations? Of all the things that we could be doing to inject story, if that was the ultimate goal, why mystery? Like, why not science fantasy, or why not a science western or whatever? What about investigations drove us there? So,
investigations are the tech that's there for them, like, already exists. So a lot of this we can push ourselves in MFT, and what that means is we can leave other teams alone to do their stuff without us constantly bugging them for a little bit of this, a little bit of that, because all the fundamentals are there. So it's something that MFT can sort of own and just push all the way, and without bugging anyone, doing anything. And it's also quite a fun thing to do. Having an investigation, letting people think, come up with their own answers, potentially talk about it, have different answers. I think it's just a fun game mode.
Another mission type was talked about, and it's a little spoiler-ish. So if you don't want to hear about it, then just tap the screen and skip to the next segment using the little time bar thing below my massive face. Yeah, that one down there. So this is a mission you can get inside the prison, and here's what they said about it.
All right. So we're starting off in Kleiser.
Yeah, so we're when I recorded this, I tried to do it from the perspective of a player who would have just arrived in prison. And generally, I think when players go to prison, they either try to enter the escape route straight away and get out of there as fast as possible, or they head into the mines to dig up rocks and serve their sentence like a good citizen. And here I just allude to that as you kind of would go deeper into the prison. For those who maybe don't know already, or don't do the mining very often, the deeper you go into these prison caves, the more likely you are to find rarer ore. And rarer ore, when you return it, will give you back some...
That's an NPC.
Ore. It is, yes. So this is one of the other features that we've added to prison, unrelated to the mission. This is just to help spice up and spruce up the place a bit more. So we've added emergent AI that will spawn in the caves and sort of wander around. It really adds some life to it. These AI can also be killed, and they will drop prison loot. So any loot that would be available to a player in the prison can potentially be on any of these AI. However, if you do so in the prison, you'll know that you'll get a murder charge still. So you will increase your sentence by doing it. However, that leads into our next spot. As you can see, the mission was just offered to the player. Now, this was triggered because the player got so deep into the mines that he entered a new section of the prison mines that we're calling the prison black spot. So this means that this area of the prison is so deep underground that the Klesher can no longer block communications to prisoners. And Ruto has found a way to elude through that. So he has found a way to contact players within prison and offers them a mission. Now this mission is to retrieve a data chip that one of his other little minions failed to smuggle out of the escape route for him. So he's asked you to find his fallen fellow and retrieve the data chip and upload the data. So after the player has a short rover ride over Aberdeen's lower orbit, low gravity planet, which is also very fun, by the way, trying to drive that thing over the surface. They will arrive at a derelict, and this derelict has got security from Hurston Security, who have gone there to investigate what's going on, and which is why there is a cutlass parked there. And the player will have to fight off the security that are here, and so that he can upload to the satellite. Putting the data chip back into my hand to upload into the satellite, and this is mission complete. So the data chip will be eaten by the satellite. Ruto will get his much needed data about the insides of Klesher, and the player will walk away crime free. There's also that cutlass now can be commandeered by the player, so they also have a way to escape the planet immediately upon mission complete.
So that seems actually rather cool. You now have the chance to escape prison and clear your crime stat in one fell swoop. If you haven't seen the prison escape yet, I'll link my awful video somewhere up there for you to go and watch. Next up is this.
Join us for the biggest Whitley's Guide IAE special yet, with exclusive looks at all your favorite manufacturers, Drake CEO and an Arden, plus surprises and announcements you won't want to miss. We'll see you there.
Yes, that's right, it is the IAE, which is the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, and it's coming November 18th. This will actually be my first one, but I'm already looking forward to it. Looking at all the ships, hopefully seeing the new one that's coming out and giving some of them a go. This year it's at New Babbage, so make sure to head over there this month and have a look. It is on for 13 days, and in that time you can explore the ships, look at the new ones, and even rent some out for free to try. The store will also, no doubt, have a ton of sales on ships for us all to blow our cash on, because, you know, we all hate money and enjoy an empty wallet. If you're looking at grabbing something during IAE, then let me know what you're interested in the comments below. And last but not least, there's news soon on the upcoming Cargo Refactor, which I know a lot of people are excited for, so watch this space as I'll be covering that as well. And this week's subscriber flare is another armour, the Xanthul. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it looks kind of different. I'm torn on whether it looks decent or not, but what do you think? You going to rock it? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching this week, guys. It is appreciated. Have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one.